to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have James Tickner, Associate Vice President and Head of Product with Nasdaq IR Intelligence. We also have Radek Barnet. He's the CEO of WeConvene to discuss Nasdaq's ConnectIR, which surpassed 10,000 bookings as activity surged during the pandemic. James and Radek, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. And James, I'd like to start with you. Explain to the Trade Talks audience what ConnectIR is.
Yeah, thanks, Jill, and it's great to be here. So ConnectIR was really focused on simplifying companies' engagement with the buy and sell side. So we're offering companies technology and tools to help them connect directly, run campaigns with investors, drive interest in meeting with executive management, as well as addressing a lot of the practical issues around organizing roadshows and investor events.
And James, why do you think activity surged the way it did during the pandemic?
Yeah, so I think a few factors contribute to that. So obviously, investor meetings in person vanished overnight. Everyone was obviously switching to virtual. I think what we saw through the pandemic in a number of areas was a willingness to adopt new technology, and we saw acceleration in adoption of this specific tool as companies had the chance to really focus on the efficiency of how they're operating.
Right, and Radek, explain to us more in depth how companies leverage ConnectIR.
Sure, Jill, thanks for having us. Companies use WeConvene to schedule any type of meeting that they have with investors. And so we see that fall into three main buckets. Bucket number one is post-quarterly callback calls, where usually companies, after announcing quarterly results, would reach out to the sell side and to the investors and schedule meetings, sometimes over 100 meetings that they do over 2 or 3 days. And so they use ConnectIR to automate that process, saving days of activity. The second one is for investor days. So when they're hosting people to learn more about their respective companies, well, they used to do that physically, obviously, and in the last 12 to 18 months, they've been doing it virtually, and they've been leveraging the platform for that. And then finally, as James mentioned, as companies are going back on the road around issues such as sustainability, ESG, and just regular updates to engage with investors, they're using the platform to schedule these roadshows that they're doing on their own.
And Radek, do you expect these trends to continue post-pandemic? In other words, have the expectations for a modern day CRM shifted permanently?
Absolutely. So people are looking for ways to do more with less. And so they're using technology to basically remove the mundane workflow. And that's where ConnectIR comes in, right? Because they're basically not doing the physical booking of activity, the back and forth, the travel agent type activities that they used to do before this technology came along. And now there's even more demand on their time because they do both virtual and physical engagements with investors, right? So that we only see growing and growing exponentially.
All right, Radek, James, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.
Thanks, Jill.